All right, so we're going to do a quick Node.js demo here, and I'm going to download the Macintosh installer. If you're on Windows, obviously you want to download the Windows installer. And we're going to go ahead and give this an install. See what happens. All right, so we're successfully installed. Now we should have a new program called Node to run. And we can check that in our terminal window by typing Node. So now we have a fresh version of Node installed. All right, so now that we have Node installed, we're going to build a quick and dirty web server. And we're going to use the code that I showed you in the slide from today's lecture. So we know we have Node installed, and we can verify that by doing node-v, and you'll see that we have our version 0.8.21. So we're not even going to have to leave the terminal. All we have to do here is create a new JavaScript file. You can call this whatever you want. We'll call ours nodeserver.js, and we're going to go ahead and paste in or write out our code from our Node server that that I showed you in the previous lecture. So basically what this does is it creates a new variable called HTTP, and it requires the HTTP library from Node. We're then going to, and this is an object basically, and what we're going to do is on that object we're going to run the create server method, which is going to create a new Node server. And within that, we're going to write our content type, and then we're going to write our hello world, which is just what we're going to send to the server. And like I said, this is a very basic web server, so it's not actually serving files out of the directory. We're just serving some basically plain text to our web server. And then we're going to do this .listen, and this is the port we're going to listen on, and this is the IP address, which for those of you who aren't familiar with 127.0.0.1, this is the local host address. Now, there's definitely some Node magic happening in here, and I'm not going to go into all of that because it's a little out of scope for this class. But if you're interested in learning more about Node, check out the documentation, install it for yourself, and take a look. So let's exit out of here and save that. So now we have a, just to make sure it's saved, right? We have our node.js file. Now we can just type node and then nodeserver.js, and we can see our server in action. So if you hit enter, it's just going to kind of hang out there and not do anything, and that's good. So if we tab back over to our browser and type localhost 8124, you can see that we got served the hello world. And that is essentially a basic web server in Node.js. Another thing we could do is in our file, we could write out something like started web server on 127.0.0.1 8124, and we can save that. And now when we run this, we'll get a little printout right there that shows what's going on. Just kind of cues your user so they can see exactly what's happening. And again, if we refresh this, we'll get our hello world. And one more thing to show you here, whatever we change here is what will print out. So hello world and peeps. So if we save that and run that again, there you can see that we've updated our code. So that's a basic Node.js web server. If you're interested in this, I encourage you to play around with it a little bit more. It's a fun project to work with and a cool code set. So give it a try.